All right, meme creators are rejoicing after the European Parliament rejected plans for a controversial copyright law. Online activists were worried the EU directive would force websites to filter out copyright material uploaded by users, including some of your favorite memes. Internet activists say that would have been censorship. They're celebrating today through the medium of memes, of course. This is the Netherlands' official account, but the bill now goes to another vote in September, so it's not technically over. Musicians, including Paul McCartney, had urged the EU to pass the laws to protect artists. The head of the British Academy of Songwriters said they could help artists make a living.
It's not about the tech companies versus the major record labels, or Hollywood versus Silicon Valley. This is about real people like me, real small business creators who have to pay other people, and we have to try and make a living out of our creativity.
Mariette Schaake is a member of the European Parliament who's backing a petition against the new rules. Mariette, thank you so much for being with us. So just your reaction to this proposal being rejected?
I think it's important that we have an opportunity to find a better compromise between the two very opposing sides. So, of course, it is fair that artists should be paid, but the proposals on the table now had a whole bunch of collateral damage for freedom of expression and risked introducing sort of automated censorship up front before people could upload information to the internet, and that is very, very undesirable.
So what would then be the solution? I mean, you know, you've obviously had Paul McCartney come out and speak about this, and obviously you just heard someone from the Recording Artists Association as well. What would be a solution that allows creative people to be happier?
Well, I don't think it lies in creating an additional protection for publishers, because that's what was on the table. And so I don't quite understand why some of these artists think that by creating intermediaries that also will make money, that they will be better off. But, you know, that's for them to decide. I think part of the solution will lie outside of copyright. I mean, just because we have a problem with the excessive economic power of tech platforms doesn't mean that copyright is the best answer to deal with it. So I think part of the answer will lie in taxation. Part of the answer will lie in these technology platforms acknowledging that the creation of content is important, that they should sponsor it, which is what they're doing in some cases already. But there also has to be an acknowledgement that there's a trade-off, that if you have information or a song or a movie, a news article, you want to be found. And the journalist or the artist that makes this content is also benefiting from traffic that is coming from the big technology platforms. And so we have to look at what is fair and reasonable and what does not go at the expense of fundamental rights of people in Europe, which is freedom of expression and access to information. And that balance has to be struck, and that was not in the proposals that we voted down today.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly bring up several good points there. But, you know, TV stations, obviously, we're on CNN right now, but TV stations across the world obviously have to abide by very, very strict copyright rules. Some say, well, why shouldn't tech companies, why shouldn't social media companies as well?
I think that that's a fair point. And that was not what was at the table today, though. So I think it is fair that tech companies should abide by the rules and by laws. I'm a big proponent of respecting the rule of law also online and not having a disbalance between, let's say, traditional media such as television or the online world. But it doesn't mean that stricter copyright protection of publishers' rights as a new right that should be protected is the answer to those journalists and artists that are worried about their revenues. And I also know a lot of artists, especially smaller ones who don't want to depend on the big intermediaries, the big music houses and movie houses, who are happy to share what they produce, their songs, their creations, to reach larger audiences. There are also those who would like to have that choice and who don't want to be bound by the big publishers, the big music studios or the big movie houses that actually also take revenue. It's not like they are only neutrally passing on the money between the tech platforms or others to the artists. They, of course, earn money too. So this is very much a discussion about vested interests, big players who can deal with any regulation because they have the lawyers, they have the money, versus the smaller ones, the SMEs, that may not be able to, and that it would be a problem for their competitive position, for the opportunity to innovate. And that is something that we were very concerned about the proposals today.